overview of Subsocial. What is it?
Okay, so Subsocial is a custom blockchain that is built on Substrate blockchain framework, the same framework that is used to create Polkadot and Kusama. And we're also using the same framework, and we created unique custom modules for social networking so that people can build decentralized social networks on top of Subsocial. And it means that Subsocial is not a decentralized social network. It's a platform where people could build their own decentralized niche communities, small, medium-sized social networks, and it features shared network effects. So it means that if you imagine that people created 1,000 of different communities or social networks, and each of them invited, like, let's say 1,000 people. So then at the end of the day, there will be 1 million of people on Subsocial, because every application on top of Subsocial, they can bring people, and all these people will end up in the whole users of Subsocial. So in this way, entrepreneurs and community builders should not be worry about that they need to start from scratch every time in terms of networks effects on users, and that they can leverage the existing users of Subsocial. So also we implemented a lot of functionalities that is very common across popular social media like Facebook, Twitter, Medium, Reddit. And people can do the similar things on Subsocial, like creating blog or forum, and then posting there, creating other posts, comments on this, follow blogs or forums or public groups, and then see updates in their feed, see notifications if somebody replies to them or uploads their post, etc. And yeah, like this year, we are very focused on improving this performance, plus developing different monetization methods. But I guess we'll talk about this later. I mean, I can just mention that it includes social tokens and monetization of your content through tips or like recurring payments, etc. And plus, going to also add support for smart contracts so that people could extend functionality with some unique and very custom monetization methods that are very specific to their niche or community.
Awesome. So you mentioned that, community builders who wants to build like a social media platform or forum doesn't have to start from scratch, when they're building a Subsocial, right? They could leverage the existing community or the network effect within Subsocial to build their community. Is that the core competitive advantage of building from Subsocial, or could you give more insights into that?
Yeah, exactly. So when talking about creating new social networks, usually it's not that a problem to get a software, because there are already different software that has these features like blogs, posts, comments, follows, newsfeed, etc. But the thing is that most of the software is implemented either, all of them are centralized, of course, and they usually can be used in two ways. First, you just install this on your server, and you host the software of your social network. And recently, I'm not sure if Chinese people followed this. There was incident with Parler. That was alternative social network, kind of similar to Twitter, that is focused on politics. So when there was incident with Donald Trump, Amazon just blocked Parler in one click, because Parler hosted the services on Amazon, and Amazon banned them, like the platform, in one click. That's it, end of story. And another way to go is to build your community on SaaS, software as a service. So there are a couple of interesting platforms that are called tribe.so, circle.so. They're quite interesting, actually, and I believe there should be something similar in Chinese market. So the thing is that you go there and you can create a community, you can create different topics, start posting there, invite people, and have conversations. Like, actually they're even more advanced in features than Subsocial, but they're centralized, and this is nothing is good about this, because again, you can like going somewhere, and this is the same centralization as with Twitter's, Facebook's, Medium, etc. But you just can have more customization. Like you can run it on your subdomain or maybe domain, change some theme, colors, etc. But then you still risk with all this centralization, because if you're doing something wrong that they don't like, it's not aligned with their goals, so they can remove you easily. It's like because you're not following the terms of use, for example, right? So in terms of Subsocial, we see it a little bit different. So that Subsocial is a protocol for social communication in a decentralized way. And such as we don't store content on blockchain, like texts of posts or comments and images. We don't store this on blockchain. We store it on IPFS. And actually, we can even store it in other storages, like RView, for example, this permanent storage. Very interesting alternative, actually. So we store just identifiers of this content. It's called CID, content ID, in blockchain. And it means that even if somebody is using Subsocial, one thing is that they can get our web app or create alternative and run it on any site they need, like on any domain, and fill, change, remove, add elements, etc., add any integration, whatever. So they can do like anything, because you can follow the same approach like with creating unique your own site. And then imagine you want to show something that is good in one country, but is bad in another country. So with Facebook, it will be solved easily. So usually Facebook or Twitter, they try to avoid conflicts, and they just, if it's banned or not good in one country, so they just don't like it and discourage and remove. But in our case, I see that people could have their own instances of web UIs that are alternatives, and also host, for example, IPFS, and they can upload their images, text, videos on their IPFS node, and then just use Subsocial to broadcast news to your follower base that I have created this video, I uploaded it, so they will be notified through Subsocial as a protocol. But even, for example, if we don't like this video, I mean, because we also have our DApp that is running. This is the first DApp. We're going to launch a new one, I mean, additional second, and I believe third one. So there will be different DApps that work on top of Subsocial that is dedicated to different topics. And even if we don't like something on our side to be shown, so we can remove it, like in terms of if it's not appropriate to our legal aspects, right? So we can remove this from our IPFS node, but other people can host it on their IPFS node and just use Subsocial as a protocol to inform their followers that there is something new, and they go and people can consume content from any site. So this is a difference. So it means that somebody could be not happy with some content, they can easily remove, but others, owners, they can they need to worry about they can run their own IPFS and show whatever they need. So this is a big difference.
Well, it's awesome. Yeah, I'm glad to hear the like really hear in depth the pain points of centralized social media platforms, and how you guys could like solve these problems, or like and integrate IPFS to make social media social media like better again. That's awesome. That's awesome to hear.
I also wanted to even add here, because it's not only about centralization in terms of like censorship, but it's also centralization in terms of innovations, because like in this world, there are billions of people, and maybe like 1 or 5% are very creative. Like we have hundreds of millions of creative people, right? They want to create something, and they need this kind of sandboxes where they could experiment, like on hackathons, right? And I remember times when people were super creative with using Facebook or Twitter API, for example, and they started building startups like maybe 5 or 7 years ago. And then there was a situation with the platform and big players like Zynga. So they created social games on Facebook, and they raised hundreds of millions of dollars, if I'm not mistaken. Their capitalization was like billions, very big player. And they used Facebook to notify people to get back to the game and do something. And Facebook was not happy that they utilize Facebook resources to notify people and make lots of money. So they just banned it, and it's called deplatforming. And then, yeah, so people then started to think about this, other entrepreneurs, and they had a lot of concerns, and they were scary to invest the money that they raised from investors of their own pockets, because it's an unclear future. You can spend a lot of energy, time, money, and then Facebook can block you. Like, who wants this? Like, nobody sees this funny, right? It's not funny situation at all. And from my experience, people stopped to experiment using Facebook, Twitter API heavily. I mean, sometimes they have this login with Facebook or Twitter. Sometimes they use some functionality, but it's not a heavy startups that utilize this API heavily. But in our case, the situation is different, because blockchain is by default, it's open, permissionless, distributed database with API, with shared logic, called consensus. So it's already by default open. Anyone can use it. And it means that people could be much more creative, like not like even much more, but as much creative as they want. Because as I mentioned before, they could either use what we created, or they could do heavy modifications, light modifications, heavy modifications, or they can create something from scratch. But this something like either it's mobile app or web app or even some VR, it just need to follow our protocol transactions, and that's it. So even they can store it somewhere else, because, for example, our blockchain supports specifying any ID of any storage. So they even can store it in their private database and show it for their users. So it's also about centralization in terms of customization. So sometimes I even refer to Subsocial as kind of similar like Linux, but for social networks. Like we're building this, like there is Linux core, and there are Linux distributives that are built on top of core. So people can choose between different configurations, features that different Linux distributives provide, right? And I imagine something similar that people could, so Subsocial is like the social core or social layer for internet with built-in monetization. And then it's up to people to create different look and feels, UIs, mobile, web, etc. Hello?
So I had a slight technical difficulty here earlier. I was very engaged. So you mentioned the the innovators or the creative or the people who are creative to be the kind of people that are looking to build within like the sandbox of Subsocial, right?
Yeah,
Like
I would call them community builders, I guess.
community
I think
builders?
it is a good word. Yeah, community
Oh,
builders.
okay. Would you consider them or classify them as your target market, or like what's your plan of reaching out to that group of target market?
Yeah, so we already have some people that started reaching out to us and asking, can we build a social network on top of what you have? And this is very interesting and good sign. And currently we're kind of a little bit busy with lots of other tasks, because I mean, I'm very happy to hear these questions, and I would be very, very happy to see different social networks that are built on top of Subsocial, but at the same time, we're still developing a lot of functionalities that is still required. And for example, if we start to spend a lot of time with one such kind of, let's say, customer community builder, then maybe we will not implement something super important. So I'm very interested and open to such kind of conversations to see what people need. And it also helps us to understand what functionality should be there. And the more common this functionality, the better, because we can create something once and it could be reused by different people. So this is very, very important. And also as a part of this plan to invite, engage, attract community builders is to have very strong and usable SDKs, software development toolkits. So for example, right now we already have one SDK for JavaScript / TypeScript languages, so that we already use this in our web app. So and on backend services. So this SDK allows you to get posts, get comments, get followers, get upvotes, etc. So to get a lot of information, and also you can create posts and comments and follow other people and accounts and so on. So this is one of our priorities to improve this SDK. Also, we're going to create SDK in Flutter language, in Flutter framework, because Flutter is a framework from Google for creating cross-platform mobile applications. And I saw that and other big players in Chinese market, they started using this Flutter to create cross-platform mobile applications. So I think it's a very, very good technology, and we started to create an SDK for Flutter, so that it means that when we have these two good SDKs that are JavaScript and TypeScript, and another one is for Flutter, so that people can create anything from for as it's a web application or mobile application. Yeah. Also, we want to start organizing somewhere later this year, I guess, hackathon. So when we have this at least like one SDK documented and ready to use, so it would be very, very nice to start organizing hackathons where young people or anyone else could experiment and try to create something that they need, and we could help them with this, with answers and help and something like that.
Awesome. Great to hear there's so much tools and resources that you're offering to the developers or the innovator, the community managers who wants to build their social media platform on Subsocial. So let's talk about the social token for a minute, because it's not entirely a new concept, right? But recently, you know, it has the concept of social tokens have become a new trend. So could you walk me through why so many projects suddenly spring up on the market, and what kind of new things can it bring to the community builders or creators?
Yeah, it's a good question. So social token is not new. I mean, in terms of the token is already not new thing. Like social token, it's the same token, but the difference here is not even in technology itself of this token itself, but it's more difference in how people are using or going to use it. So, for example, with social tokens, there are a lot of interesting ideas started to appear just recently, right? So, for example, people can use it in such a way that if they have chats, let's say, yeah, I'm from Europe, so here very popular Telegram and Discord, and also I use WeChat, but I'm not very familiar. Is it is it easy to create a bot for WeChat? I don't know. If it's easy, then it could be applied the same. So, for example, for such platforms that support bots, like chats, you could create a bot, or we could create this, right? So we created one bot for Telegram, and we still need to release it, and we're going to create a bot for Discord as well. So then imagine you have a chat that is unique for some target audience for your community that, for example, you want to monetize them. And then you want them to talk on some topic, all right? Or all of them to talk. And then if they have this required amount of tokens of your community, so-called social tokens, right? So you can, by using such a chat bot, say that people can join your chat only if they have, for example, 10 tokens or 100 tokens, whatever. It doesn't matter this number. So it's up to owner of social token. So it's called gating access to chats by using social tokens. So another usage for social tokens could be, for example, if you hold this at least this amount of tokens, let's say again, it's like if you hold at least 15 tokens and you hold them for last year, then maybe you deserve from time to time for some specific content, like, I don't know, that's something that is not visible to others. Or maybe you can be rewarded with a unique NFT. So for example, for the most top holders of the token, like let's say 10 most biggest holders, or 100 or 1000, again, it's just about numbers. So then you can also incentivize them with your NFT or some, I don't know, ticket to your even online meetup or offline, I don't know, concert, whatever. Also, another usages that I saw is, for example, if you're talking about decentralized products like dApps on Ethereum, and even if you think about decentralized organizations like DAOs. So in this case, it could be people, only those who hold token again can participate in voting and making proposals. So like, let's say, let's consider changing this parameter, or let's do this, or let's update this. So only people who hold these tokens can participate. And again, like these tokens could impact how valuable your vote on this proposal. So there are like different ways to use this. So why they became popular recently is because they're quite related to NFTs, or even you can think that they could extend this direction of monetizing social aspects, interactions, and creativeness, etc. So like, again, with NFTs appeared in the late 2017 with CryptoKitties. And for the next 2 years, like 2018, 19, nobody really cared about NFTs. Like, people just forget about them, and only some continue to development. And then after this 2 years of active development, the team started to show what they have, and people just looked at it and like, okay, yeah, but look, this is usable, this is quite nice. And then people started to realize that it's a good thing. It can be used in an interesting way. You could create something like similar to Instagram app, but where you can buy digital items from your favorite creators or celebrities, etc. And yeah, and then people started to remember that there is also social tokens, and you can use it in also different way in companion with NFTs, something like that.
Cool. I'm really happy to hear like all those like mechanisms that exist for, for the social tokens to be used on the, that could be used on the network. And I want to ask the follow-up question to that, which is, how are the token economic model designed, and how does your token capture the network value? And for the token holders, what exactly is the role of the tokens?
Yeah, so as on any blockchain, our token is used to protect the network from free transaction attack, because if you build in blockchain, and blockchain public services, so if there is no any check who and how often can use resources of blockchain, then blockchain is easy to attack, because it just create endless loop of free transactions. And this is the DOS. You're just the DOS in blockchain. That's it. So one of the applications, one of the main applications of tokens on blockchain, besides its value, so like value transfer thing. So second very important feature of tokens on blockchain is to protect the network from free usage by bad actors, by hackers. So for example, in our case, currently every transaction costs token, and this fee is super cheap, and we're also going to change it so that people can have free transactions. So we already started to work on this on the module that is called rate limiter. It will allow certain accounts that confirm the email address, for example, or if they have account on Polkadot or Kusama or maybe other chains. So if you confirm that your account has something like either verified email or has not empty balance on Polkadot or Kusama, then you can have some number of free transactions per day. But another usage of token could be, for example, to get free transactions. Maybe you don't want to confirm your email, because when you confirm an email, you reveal yourself. So maybe some people want to be anonymous. It's totally fine. But then they should confirm, verify in some way that they are not the same person, but with thousands or millions of accounts. Because on blockchain, it's easy to create millions of accounts that are empty because it costs nothing. It's cryptography. So then if you want to have free transactions and don't reveal your identity through email or Polkadot, etc., then you can just stake your tokens. So you need to buy Subsocial tokens and somewhere, right? And then you stake them to get free transactions. And the more you stake, the more transactions you can have. Also interesting idea here could be, for example, big token holders could stake, and then it means that they can have like lots of free transactions, but they don't need all of them. And then they maybe could be renting their transaction capacity to other people, but that people don't need to buy the same amount of token for free transaction, but just spend smaller amounts to have free transactions for some period of time. So this is one of the usages of token, is to protect the network, to pay for transactions if you want to pay directly, or if you want to have free transactions that you need to again buy some tokens and stake them. So in this case, just imagine some similarities with some online services like I don't know if you use like Netflix and let's say Substack and maybe Patreon and some alternatives in China, for example, for movies, for music, like Apple Music, Spotify, etc. Right, so you pay monthly, for example, like equivalent of $5, $10, $15, whatever, and then you have something for free for this period of time, for this month, for example, right? So in our case, it will be quite similar. You sort of buying these tokens, you staking them, and still you don't lose them. So because you don't spend, you just stake. And by staking your tokens, you receive free transactions, you receive services of blockchain. And another usage of tokens is would be if you're going to create new social tokens for your block or community on Subsocial, then you need to pay with Subsocial tokens, so that your tokens will be convertible back to Subsocial tokens, so that when people buy in tokens of this new community, they understand that there is some value, liquidity behind these new tokens, so that they cannot go easily to zero, right? So like on Uniswap or Socialswap, if you create a new token and want to have market for them, it's better to provide something behind it. Like you should provide, if you're talking about Uniswap, you should provide 50-50. Like, for example, if you have, let's say, 1,000 of tokens, and you want them to cost 0.1 Subsocial tokens, then you need to provide 100 Subsocial tokens, and then say that this 100 Subsocial tokens equivalent to 1,000 of your tokens. So then people will have better time buying your new tokens because they understand there is value behind them. Yeah, also we're going to have on-chain governance, like with Kusama and Treasury, so that they will be used to improve, develop, and make stronger our ecosystem, to sponsor development of alternative web apps, mobile apps, anything else that could be built around Subsocial, or even maybe marketing activities, etc. And then this token will be used to pay for this sponsored, for grants, for proposals, like similar like to Kusama. So I would highlight these three usages at least.
Cool. That's thank you so much for going so in depth with that. So we have a bunch of community questions already lined up, from Bilibili and our WeChat group, and I'd love to go through some of them with you. So the first question is, do you have any, for social media platforms that are going to be built on Subsocial, will there be any mechanism that'll protect the users from, bad users or like scams or spams? And who's going to be the verifier or the validator for that mechanism?
Yeah, so this is a very, very strong question and popular actually. So I would like to remind you the concept that I explained a little bit earlier on this call, where that the Subsocial is not social network. It's a protocol for social networking, right? And today, if you look at our DApp, I think we need to find times to look at our DApp through the stream, maybe, right? So to do stream from my screen so people can see what Subsocial is. And so what I'm trying to say is that this Subsocial DApp that we have today, from my perspective, it's one of the future DApps, one of the future sites. There should be like multiple. Subsocial should be a source of social DApps. Like Ethereum is social should be a protocol platform for social dApps. And these social dApps could be of different size, small, medium, big, like it depends. So for example, maybe you want to create your own blog and then just run it on your own site. So then your site will be dedicated to just your blog. And still people don't need to register there to comment on your blog, because if they are signed up on Subsocial, if they have account on Subsocial and have like free transactions or tokens, they can go to your site and comment there because they already users of Subsocial, and they can sign their transactions using Polkadot extension, because we already integrated with Polkadot.js extension in browser, in Chrome, and with in Firefox and Brave. So then there could be even bigger sites, like, for example, we are going to launch a site that is oriented for Polkadot and Kusama ecosystems. And it means that on this site, we will show posts only from something like 300 blogs that represent Polkadot projects. So then when people, for example, when people visit our current app today, they could see different posts on Polkadot, on crypto in general, like about Ethereum, Bitcoin, trading signals. They can see memes, kitties, cooking recipes, like anything, right? But on this niche site that we're going to launch for Polkadot, people will expect and see only something that is on Polkadot and Kusama. So because this will be niche. And so then I'm answering your question, right? So imagine we have this site for Polkadot and Kusama. And if you post the information about, let's say, kitties or cookie recipe, it's not bad information. It's not bad post in general, right? It's fine. Like kitties, what's wrong with it? Like funny, and even like your travel experience, like you visited some new city. But on this new site for Polkadot and Kusama, it will be inappropriate because it doesn't belong to this topic. So this site is totally fine to not show this content. So they will not be like censoring you, they will just moderating. So they're not showing your content. And this is not bad at all, because people can create this posts about kitties, cookie recipes, a travel story, and something that happened through their life, etc. And they show it on their site. But on other niche sites, maybe this niche site are not happy with it, and they totally fine not showing it. So this is totally different if you compare again to Facebook or Twitter, because if they're not happy with something, they remove it completely. But in our case, if imagine like we have 1,000 of different niche communities, social networking sites that are running on top of Subsocial, anyone can show anything, either everything or just something. And this is the difference. So in our case, I see it like moderation plus filtering of content, either allowing it or blocking it, depending on your needs, on your niche community, etc.
Cool. We're definitely going to share the link of the DApp to our community. And yeah, we're hoping to more people join and really get a sense of how the Subsocial social media protocol works. So I want to talk about the user base a little bit, and hopefully I don't know if you're able to share the data with me, but how many existing users do you guys already have? Daily active users, and have you set a target for user growth?
Okay, so currently, for example, you can go to our DApp, that is app.subsocial.network, and there you can click on side menu, on left side menu, and you will see Polkadot Stats Explorer, or Polka Stats Explorer, yeah. So let me just open this on my side.
Do you mind posting a link to my chat real quick so that I could look right now as well?
Yeah, okay, 1 second. So, okay, let me, one link will be, I just shared it here on Zoom, right? So one link is to DApp, app.subsocial.network. So this is our decentralized application that works on top of Subsocial blockchain. And then you can see we have here blockchain explorer created by Polka Stats team for Subsocial. So on this blockchain explorer, you can see such common information to any blockchain like blocks and transactions. On Polkadot, they're called extrinsics, and events. But also you can see accounts, for example, on the top right corner, there is accounts menu tab. If you click there, you can see the numbers of current users. So currently we have 6.7 K users, like 6,700 users. And it's very, very easy to join Subsocial, because for this you just need to visit our app and again click on left side menu, and there will be a faucet. So if you sign in with, if you try to sign in, the app will ask you if you have Polkadot extension, so just select your account which you want to use to sign in, or you need to install your Polkadot.js, and then you will have Polkadot account that is compatible with Subsocial account. So all Polkadot Kusama accounts work on Subsocial by default. They're compatible on any other chain like Phala, Plasm, Akala, Darwinia, Bifrost. Every account works on Subsocial. The thing is that you will not have tokens by default. So then, but you can sign in, and once you sign in, you can see there will be a button Get Tokens. You click there. You then enter your email address. You receive a unique confirmation code. You confirm your email by going through this email link. And then you will receive some small amount of tokens that will be enough to have something like about 25, 30 transactions. So you can follow interesting blogs, groups. We call them spaces. You can create some first posts, comment on something, upvote, follow, etc. Yeah, and as I mentioned, we're going to introduce free transactions. I hope maybe next month. So the next month will be very soon. Yeah, tomorrow actually. So yeah, We're going to launch this new niche site for Polkadot and hope that sometime after we maybe introduce these free transactions, because we started to work on it. So yeah.
Awesome.
It's very easy to join. And what is very interesting, again, I would like to repeat one more time, is that there are a lot of creative people in the world, and they totally want to create some interesting experiments for social networking, right? With social communication inside, etc. You can see the same passion for DeFi. Like people are very creative, creating a lot of different DeFi projects that could be similar, that could be copycats, that could be totally different, that could be a combination of ideas. Like, but the main thing is that they can be creative because blockchains allow this. Ethereum, BSC, Solana, etc. Right? And I imagine the similar creativeness, but for social networking, this is again with built-in finance monetization. If we have this kind of blockchain that is optimized for social networking, like Subsocial, and then we could see similar creativeness in terms of different social dApps comparison to DeFi. But then people should not be scary or worry about, I mean, regular people. Like if you imagine there were a lot of tries to create social apps in past, and usually people don't want to even try it, like normal people, something new, right? But why? Because, oh my God, like one more time, I need to register, to confirm email, to provide avatar, to write description, and to try find followers, friends, etc. Right? So people just don't want to repeat these steps one more time again. But in case of Subsocial, if you imagine 1,000 of social dApps, or I don't know, 10,000 of them, if user joined through each of these dApps, through at least one of them, this person already became a user on Subsocial. And then to start using any other dApp, even all these 1,000 dApps, they don't need to register. They just need to go to their site or mobile app, and that's it. They're already users. So this is a huge difference. Even, for example, again, let's compare YouTube and Bilibili. Right? But if I want to comment on it, I need to go and register, right? And again, if you're a user of Bilibili and you're not on YouTube, you need to go and register to find new followers, to find new friends from the scratch. But in case of Subsocial, if you imagine YouTube and Bilibili were built on Subsocial, if one person joins through Bilibili, they will be already having accounts on all the alternatives on Subsocial, including YouTube version on Subsocial. And opposite, if they join through YouTube, they will already can join Bilibili, just click login, and that's it, you're there. You already have all your friends and followers because they're shared through the shared networks effects of Subsocial. I think it's a very big thing.
Cool. While we're talking, I actually tried to register via Subsocial, and I was able to get the 0.05, SME, which is a native token that runs on this Subsocial protocol already. And it's very, very easy to sign up. For those of you watching who are interested in giving it a shot, please do. We're posting a link right now. And I have a final question before, from our community is, like there's so many questions, but I found, our team, we found the best one as a final question is, how does the incentive model work for, content creators on Subsocial, and how do you confirm, the messages or the content you created deserves to be, rewarding tokens?
Yeah. So sometimes people ask if is it Subsocial like Steam or Hype, and then maybe like from one point it is, but like for example, today we don't have this rewards yet there because I'm personally and our advisor is not happy with how reward works on Hype or Steam, because how it works. So there is native token, and there is inflation of that token, and then people, just normal users, subvote on posts that they like or comments, and then inflation of the token is distributed among those that are most upvoted posts or comments. And with this approach, there are some problems because whales, people who have a lot of token, they can bribe, they can do like agreements with other people, like you write this something, whatever, and I will go and upvote you. And such as I have a huge amount of tokens, my vote is strong, and then you will get a reward from inflation, and you just give me some part of it. So this is totally not good. I mean, this is not natural creativeness, because this is like bribery, and I don't know, I don't like this at all. So we didn't even try to implement this. I mean, it's totally possible to create something like that, but in our case, I see it a little bit different. And again, with social tokens. So we're going to introduce social tokens in the next months, maybe like in 2 months or something. And how I see it is that I already mentioned that in our case, we have spaces. Spaces could represent either a personal blog or public group or forum, something like that. So it's your space on blockchain where you can post, create comments, and upload like photos, videos, whatever. And then when we introduce social tokens, people could create social tokens per their space. So it will be like space tokens. And then also we're going to add smart contracts. So then owners of the spaces could define their own unique methods to monetize their content and their community how they need, depending on their needs, unique specifics of their community and their requests. So I see that it should be not a global reward that everyone tries to fit, right? Because everyone cannot be happy with one approach. There are different people have different ideas, different creativeness, and even different cultures, right? Something that can work in Europe or US cannot work in China, and vice versa, right? But still, both of these approach are fine. So this for approach A, very good in Europe, it works, okay. If it doesn't work in China, it doesn't mean that that approach is bad. It just doesn't work for some reason. Maybe we just cultural difference, that's it. And again, something that works in China and it doesn't work in Europe, it doesn't mean that this approach also bad. It's fine. It just works in that other culture. And then I see that such as we have this separation on spaces, like there could be like thousands, there are already like 3,000 of spaces or more, and there could be hundreds of thousands of spaces. And I imagine that people should have the unique models of monetization per the spaces, per hub of spaces or something like that.
That's awesome. Yeah, thank you so much for the insight. I'm about to wrap this up. Do you have any last words or last comments you'd like to share with the community?
Yeah, so I think the major news from us, the upcoming news will be, we're going to launch the first dedicated site to Polkadot and Kusama. And we call this feature as subnet because it's a vertical sub-network on top of Subsocial. So Subsocial is a network, and there will be this sub-networks that are dedicated to some topic. So this should be a very interesting and important event for us in Polkadot in general, because it will mean that Polkadot will have its own decentralized social network where people could see and expect, if they see this project, that this is not fake, not scam, it's true project because it was verified, right? And in this way, people, for example, if they see Gavin Wood on this site, it will be true Gavin Wood, not fake. Okay, and this is very interesting and important. And we want to do some kind of campaign with tokens around this. We currently call it token claim. So we're going to import like all accounts from Polkadot and Kusama. There are currently more than 300,000 of accounts. Not every one account is owned by person, by human, because lots of them are generated by exchanges. But those accounts that are owned by real people, and these real people have a key from this account, private key, right? Like not your key, not your data. So if your key, then your tokens. So these people will be able to go to Subsocial and claim their Subsocial tokens. So we're going to incentivize like lots of people. I think maybe it will be thousands, maybe like tens of thousands. I still not sure because we're still developing this functionality. And also we're thinking that maybe there will be special rewards, like kind of lottery. So for example, 5-10% of all people who join through this campaign will have a reward of that is 10 times more than average, or maybe more. So this is not final because we're still designing what and how it should be, but it's something like that. So the thing, to summarize, we're going to launch this niche community of Polkadot and Kusama, and there should be a token claim campaign around that so that people can go and get the Subsocial tokens if they're holders of Polkadot and Kusama. And the last thing, I guess, that is super important for us, I hope it will happen this year. We're going to have a slot on Kusama. So yeah, so just join Subsocial and don't miss when we will be applying with slot auction on Kusama. So you could stake for us and get Subsocial tokens as a reward for your support and staking for our slot.
That's awesome. I'm very excited to see Subsocial to in Kusama, and very excited to see the innovations that Subsocial bring to the blockchain space. Thank you so much for your time today, Alex.
Thank you, Jay.
All right, you have a great day. Bye bye.
Okay, bye.